Welcome to Charts Today. My name is David Linton, and today's edition for Monday, the 12th of January, comes to you from Sydney in Australia. I'm still here. Weather's been hot over the weekend, a bit cooler today, but I'm escaping the UK winter. So we start just by looking at where the markets closed on Friday. It's just coming up to 7 in the morning UK time. Markets are closed here now in Australia and Asia, but yet to open properly in Europe. And of course, we look at the US close on Friday. Dollar index just still struggling. We can see this fall away here. And of course, there's news out this morning that the Trump administration is going for the Federal Reserve. It'll be quite interesting to see how that affects markets, particularly bond markets. But we see here that we're still in an uptrend, although we had a sharp reaction there on Friday. And of course, those job numbers were a bit disappointing in the US. So we're still in this consolidation phase. We expect really the break to the downside, the next move down. If we look at the weekly chart, we can see here that that is gradually heading lower, and we have a downside target in play, and that is more bearish for the long term. And that matches our call that we made with LSEG at the end of last month. So that means that the euro is, we're seeing euro stronger, and so that's just really, again, consolidating, waiting for the break. If we look at the 60-minute chart, we can see that reversal just starting to play through, but no clear target. There will be a target off this on the shorter-term charts, but on the 60-minute, there's no real picture there. Looking at Bitcoin, it's still in this medium-term downtrend. Those downside targets were met. We're in this consolidation phase. Again, you would expect a move into the pattern, and then if we break lower, another move of a similar amount. We've got a downside target there to the mid-50,000s area. So that's a little bit scary. Of course, you can be looking at these targets on TradingView. I'm also using the targets on Bloomberg, of course, but on TradingView here we've got Bitcoin. If you want to enable the targets on TradingView, just let me know. And if we look at the 60-minute chart, we see here we have got this downside target in train at the moment, even though we've had a little bounce recovery. But the longer term resistance is very clearly there at around this 94,700 level. That's the Linton levels there on your TradingView as well. Those levels are all automatically put on the chart. So if we look back at so Bitcoin, really just waiting is to see whether we can break higher or whether we can break lower. That is quite key there. Little break there above the cloud, so that just puts us in a short-term bullish frame of mind. The failure to meet this target is a little bit bearish. So if we look at the daily charts now, we got the S&P was down on Friday. Well, it's down this morning, I should say. It was up on Friday, but down this morning on the future. We have activated the upside target there, but the Nasdaq is still looking like it's underperforming, really. So that's going to be the key factor here. We have got this upside target on the Nasdaq future. If we look at the Nasdaq itself, it was up 1% on Friday, not quite enough to activate on the cash market this upside target. And still well below the October high that we saw. So really just failing to match the other markets. We did see most of the tech stocks rising on Friday. Nvidia, the one that we really still believe has topped. For the moment, we're watching for this move through 169. That would be bad. That would be a lower high, then lower low, and we've got a downside target as well. So we said again in our LSEG presentation just before Christmas that we felt that Nvidia was now the least looking good chart. And the one that's looking really strong is Google. That has activated this upside target. So that is actually breaking to new highs. That is the standout in the Mag 7 at the moment. Just looking at some of the other markets, we've got the DAX in Germany. Futures down this morning. It closed up higher on Friday, breaking this consolidation range and breaking to new highs, so that's relatively bullish. And if we look at Japan, looking very, very strong there. Hang Seng is up 1.2% today, so that's looking strong as well. Although the chart itself, we are seeing lower lows there. And if we look at the shorter term, this new downside target is just playing in there on the 60-minute. So not looking quite as strong as Japan. And then if we look at China, that is looking better, breaking to new highs there as well with upside targets, so quite key. Sensex in India, this market is just struggling a little bit through the cloud, and although this target is in place, we're discounting it a little bit at the moment as we move through the cloud. And we look at the Aussie market, which is obviously where I am at the moment, up 0.5% today, but still has work to do on the daily chart. We're just waiting to see if we can actually activate this upside target for the ASX 200. Taking a look at some of the other things, we'll look at the energy mix in our morning call report this morning. Brent crude has activated a new upside target, but we are still below the cloud on the daily. The 60-minute chart did rise quite strongly on the end of last week, and we're now in this phase where we're waiting to see whether we activate the upside target and go green or the downside target and go red. As I say, I'll be covering that more in my morning call report. US gas prices up 1.5%, but the chart, again, is not looking great on the short term, and on the medium term, even worse. We're sort of plummeting through the cloud with downside targets. Taking a look at gold, that's up 1.5%. We've seen that now pushing again to new highs, so that's looking very strong there. Looking at the 60-minute, that upside target was given on Friday and met this morning. So you really can't ignore these targets. And if we look at the daily chart, we've got another 3% to run to that target. All these targets being met all the way up. Silver up 5.5% at the moment. So that is activating a new upside target, breaking to a new high. Lots of people calling this a bubble, but the reality is it's breaking to a new high. We've got a target to 103. Again, you can do these on your TradingView or your Bloomberg. And we see here that the upside targets on the 60-minute chart have all been met. So that one was met quite quickly there. These ones are all met. That's why they're not in bold. The downside target met. We'll be waiting for a new one. Go to the 1-minute chart if you're trading silver. And if we take a look at US 10-year yields, we go on the medium-term daily chart. We're just waiting to see if we're going to activate this upside target to 4.5%. A very strange picture there where there's pressure on US interest rates to go lower. The jobs report certainly adding more fuel to that, but we're seeing bond markets actually going higher. So quite key there. And on the 30-year, we actually have activated the upside target to 5.13%. So that's really quite key as well. And we would, as I mentioned, we will look at the energy mix. Today, we're seeing here crude oil is mostly up. We did see gas prices in Europe recovering on Friday, but we'll be looking at that at market open in our morning call for clients. So that's going to be quite key. US stocks, a bit of a mixed picture, but we can see here broadly, mixed on Friday, and the Nasdaq. Again, a bit of a mixed picture, probably more green than red. So we just saw a bit of an improvement there. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. Bye for now.